Following podcast contains mature language and adult discussions. You have been warned.
Welcome to the store.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say it's Wednesday night. And that means it's time once again for the Video Store Clerks Podcast. We speak fluent movie quotes and talk about this crap all day and share it with the world. It's what we do. We are your clerks for the evening. I'm Dave.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chuck.
I'm Whitman.
And we are your clerks for the evening. We thank Whitman once again for joining us tonight. We are happy to have you back, sir.
Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, this is fun.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. That's what we do. And you can check Whitman out right now on Facebook at Whitman Photography. That's WHYTMON. Did I spell that right? Okay. All right. That's
Yes,
Whitman
sir.
Photography on Facebook. What are you waiting for? Go check it out. And if you got a hot second, make sure you subscribe to our channel. It's free. It only takes a second, and it makes us feel good about ourselves. So among the many fun things we have planned for tonight, we will start with the news. We will talk about the classic 1974 Tobe Hooper horror film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we will also have a random clip of the week. And our correspondent, Mr. Mike Leasure, recently visited to the filming locations of the movie we will be discussing here this evening. Hercules. So please sit back, get comfy, hang out with us. Feel free to join us in the chat. As soon as I turn it on, we're on. All right, let's get it on tonight.
Let's get on.
Let's get it on.
But before we get to the Chainsaw Massacre, we will start our program as we always do with the news. That was a good one.
Jeez.
Quentin Tarantino, his last movie, has been selected and it will start shooting later this year.
Did they say it was going to be called like the Movie Critic or something like that?
Yeah.
Tentatively titled?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You think it's actually going to be his last?
Probably not. It kind of works the same way wrestling retirements work.
It
Yeah.
might, we'll see.
But-
I think if anything, he'll do like TV or something different.
Yeah.
It might not be a
Right.
feature film,
Yeah,
but he'll still make
Oh,
some.
guest
He-
spot on stuff.
He had some kind of TV show lined up, I thought.
He'll just start producing things instead of direct it or whatever, But yeah, I was curious about that.
You could do Kill Bill 3 as a TV series for Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. The Oscars happened.
They did, didn't they? Nobody got slapped this year. You don't care.
Because they made him stay home. Pretty much everything everywhere all at once took most of the trophies home. Brendan Fraser won Best Actor. That's it.
Wait, didn't that weirdo Jamie Lee Curtis win something too?
Yeah.
He did.
Supporting, I believe.
Yeah.
Support a lot of things, the way it seems, huh? Anyway,
Whoa.
I knew you'd love that. I thought about you when I saw she won. Guillermo del Toro also won for his animated film Pinocchio. And his next project, and buckle up, is going to be Frankenstein. And the stars he has lined up are Oscar Isaac, Andrew Garfield, and Mia Goth. So we'll see.
I'm in.
That
I'm
sounds good.
sold.
That
Yeah,
sounds good. So
That's the first I heard of that. I'm in.
Yeah.
Did you see that Vigo took home an Oscar?
I did not.
It's Vigo with baby Oscar.
Now I get it. Now I get it. That took me a second. Named after a hot dog. You poor man. You poor man.
I was wondering if you were going to wise up there.
Well, that one took me a second. I'm a little slow tonight. Oh boy, here we go. We've gone for a long time without a strike out in Hollywood. I think the last writer's strike was in 07, I think. Well, guess what? Saturday Night Live has anywhere from 12 to 20 crew members threatening to walk out and go on strike April the 1st if their demands are not met, which is better pay and better benefits. We went so long without a strike, but we'll see what happens.
Reruns forever.
Right.
And this came out of nowhere. Remember the show Monk?
Yeah.
A reunion movie is in development at Peacock. It will be called Mr. Monk's Last Case, a Monk movie. So that's happening. And something not happening.
Why didn't they just go ahead and bring in the guys from Psych and they can just do this whole like Scooby-Doo thing together? Because I mean, I like Psych and I like Monk, but that's just kind of stupid. Why?
Why stop there? Why don't you bring in Mr. Bean? Mr. Monk meets Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Again, just lock us in a room for 24 hours and we'll win the whole thing.
I mean, we got so many ideas that are just like fucking amazing. I mean, I hate to like, toot my own horn here, but I mean, we're pretty badass, and I think that we have a whole lot better ideas than Hollywood spits out.
So yeah, as soon as the writers go on strike Hollywood, give us a call. We'll be waiting.
That's when we come in and start ruling this motherfucker. Boom.
We piss excellence.
Big time.
So that's happening, but something not happening will be Willow season 2, as it has been canceled at Disney Plus after only one season. And that concludes the news.
They waited too long.
Have any of you watched the Willow show?
No,
not the new stuff.
I haven't either. I haven't heard anything about it.
It's slow.
I just
a little slow.
I don't see your mouth moving. I just see you like that, and you're just like, it's slow. Perfect.
They waited.
Yeah.
They waited.
No.
They waited too long.
Yeah. The fuck. Yeah, there we go. That's not creepy or nothing. Viewers at home, come back. Come back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that moves us on to our main course. That is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts, your memories of this movie? I know I have a bunch. When I was a kid, I saw this one a little bit later than I saw the other movies, but I was a big Freddy and Jason guy, so of course I had to pick this up. And this one stood out to me just because it was so gritty and real. It was almost like an early found footage movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what always made it stand out to me.
Especially with the intro from John Larroquette. It
was like paid a joint to do that.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And this is another movie that I wish I could. I think this came out during the Halloween season in 1974. I wish I'd been there opening night with an unsuspecting audience to see this for the first time again.
Man,
I can't imagine not having any preconceived notion about Leatherface or
anything of it. Yeah,
and seeing it for the first time would have just been. I mean, it was mind blowing as a kid.
Yeah,
but I'd already heard about Leatherface and seen clips in Fangoria and stuff. So I knew who he was.
This was 74, so it was a little before our time. So we were already acclimated to the whole slasher genre.
Right.
By the time.
What I was gonna say was, I was like talking about like seeing it in theaters when it came out, not knowing whatever. Like I had heard about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When I started getting into horror movies and all that shit. Like my stepdad was the one that told me, he's like, "You need to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre."
My stepmom.
That's
right.
Yeah. See, but like I had heard about it from my dad, who got me into horror movies, but not really a big horror guy. He always told me that he went to the drive-in by himself to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the meat hook scene, he was out. And the thing is, I've got Leatherface tattooed on my arm, and when I showed my dad, he goes, I love that movie. Like, that movie freaked me out for years. And I watched it the other day, and this was like 20, 30 years after he'd seen it, or longer than that, actually. And he's just like, I watched that movie the other day. It was on TV, and that movie is just so stupid. And I was like, it's like, man, trying to explain to your dad why it's not stupid is impossible. No, Dad, you see, you don't understand the mentality. You know,
that doesn't work out that way.
But my stepdad had me and my buddy John watch it and changed my fucking yeah. Because I mean, yeah, we had already been like Hellraiser actually. Like I
That's it beforehand because I saw Hellraiser when I was 8, and then I saw some like Jason, Freddy stuff, but I still missed Chainsaw Massacre somehow. And so it was just it was a game changer too. Seeing it like I mean, the grittiness of the film, the character Leatherface himself, just way different than the other slasher films I had seen. You know? I mean, it still is, but
it's actually creepy. There's elements of that are incredibly creepy and disturbing.
It's that low budget look, like you said, it makes it look gritty. It makes it look like a snuff film almost.
Yeah. You feel it. You feel nasty after you watch it almost.
Oh yeah.
You feel grimy. You feel
within the first few minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah, once you're in the house though, especially.
Oh yeah.
Because the grittiness of the film is whatever, but then when you get in the house, you like, I don't know, you feel it. It's just in a good way. I mean, it doesn't feel good, but it's like it puts an emotion like in you, or like it's a tactile movie. That's the word.
It's the only one out of the franchise that feels the way it does when you're watching. It's goofy in ways, whatever, but it's not. It doesn't have blatant goofiness. It's actually more serious.
Yeah, like it doesn't take you out of the movie,
No, right.
And from the beginning to the end of that movie, like you're never bored. There's maybe 5-6 minutes where it's not like craziness going on. You know what I mean? Like it's a fucking classic. I mean, it's got. There was something about the whole like Southern uber rednecky, white trashy fucking people. But the idea of them of there being people like that living out amongst us somewhere, and us being fucking Kentucky. It was just kind of like, oh, well, they could be like right down the road. Yeah, we just never knew it.
Yeah, and that's it. Because a lot of our other slashers had like supernatural elements to them.
Yeah.
This family, you're like, holy shit, I bet these people really exist.
Right.
Yeah, shit. Especially all of us growing up out in the sticks, it's like we always grew up around people that we looked at and we're like, yeah, they're probably fucking cannibal. All kinds of fucked up looking people, but
I wonder if it hits people that live, outside of those kind of places. Like if you live in a big city, does it hit the same way? Because we all grew up, like I said, in kind of the backwoods areas of our places and stuff. So it's like,
that's probably what the same thing with city people, where they're like, oh, I bet that's what fucking country folk are like. They just kill people and eat them.
Right.
Bunch of fucking redneck idiots.
Like I saw Wrong Turn.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I saw Deliverance.
Yeah,
I know what happens next.
If it wasn't for this movie, none of those Wrong Turn movies would exist.
True.
It's like this
100% on that.
This movie kind of spawned that kind of backwoods family genre. You know what I mean?
Movie spawned so many fucking other movies. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
It's the one that brought in like
There'd be no House of 1,000. There'd be no Wrong Turn. There'd be no. I mean, there's a ton of movies, that spawned.
I mean, there's the idea of like who started the slashing. Halloween's been the one that's been said a lot, but the real thing actually, Black Christmas was when we started slashers. But the thing is, Texas Chainsaw Massacre took everything you knew out of like anything that you'd seen before you'd seen this movie. It has its own feel to it. It doesn't feel like every other like movie. Well, I mean, maybe not these days, but at one time it came out. When it came out, even just like 20, 30, about 30, 40 years ago, old. There wasn't a feeling like that movie. When you first see them, the movie first comes on, and you have the whole opening with the sun and the credits, and then
that camera noise.
Yeah. And you have the flashes of like the bodies all fucked up, and you're getting the radio, the news report. talking about like corpses being like mutilated and things of that nature. It's just, like it's from the minute that movie opens, the first 5 minutes of that movie, you kind of know that you're in for a good one. Like every shot, like Tobe Hooper, man, Tobe Hooper didn't have as many greats as some of the other, fathers of like horror and all that stuff. But man,
monumental though, the one he had.
He had some good ones. I ain't gonna lie, he had some good ones, but not as many. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man, the way he filmed it, the way he shot that, the way that the script was, everything is one of the most disturbing movies, one of the most twisted movies, and one of the most influential movies of all time. Like, period.
Well, just having Chainsaw and Poltergeist on your resume, I'm more than enough. Yeah.
But this movie really changed on what you could show on film. And then they did it, but they did it like really creepily without even really showing a lot of blood, actually, or a lot
there wasn't a whole lot of blood.
Yeah, there really wasn't.
Even some of the worst things, like the meat hook scene, you don't see the blood, like you see them hanging, or you see dry blood on.
Right. The only time you actually see the chainsaw cut someone's whenever he cuts his own leg.
Yeah, right. So it's just all this implied brutality, and it's like, to me, I think it's different because it's a chainsaw, and it sounds like cliche now or whatever, but before it's like, all right, kitchen knife, or you have a machete or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's different. The sound of a chainsaw, the idea of ripping through something with a chainsaw, just the sound, the feel, everything is way more brutal. Yeah. Than just cutting somebody's limb off with a machete.
Franklin's the only one that you really honestly see a lot of blood with when it comes down to it. When that scene is like, it's amazing. All of a sudden he pops up out of nowhere with the lights on. Yeah. Blood is just splattered everywhere.
But that's it. That's like the only real.
That's it. But that's one thing that I'm glad I brought up, was the fact that when you first hear about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as a kid, you think that when you see this movie, you're going to see the most of the craziest gore. You're going to see the most ridiculous fucking effects, all this shit.
It's all the implied.
It's the implied stuff that made it so great. And, it really isn't that bad though. Like, it really isn't. Like, it's he said, it's the implied aspect of it. But it's just more than anything, it's just fucking twisted. It's one of the most twisted movies of all time. And it's fucking beautiful.
It doesn't let up, especially when he first pops out and kills Franklin. Like, they put the pedal to the metal after that, and that movie did not let up until the credits came up.
Well, I mean, when he pops the dude, when he first see Leatherface, he pops the dude.
That's the most iconic scene to me, when he throws that door back.
Yeah,
and it's bright red behind him, like those skulls hanging up.
Which those skulls were actually in that house. They just left it there. Like the back lot of it, those people that lived in that house, that was theirs. They were like, just leave that there. So little
that scene though, and the Leatherface. I mean, the fact that a lot of stuff happened in the daytime. This movie didn't wait for the night to come for all the scares or all the the boogeyman to come. Like, you're in his house or it's daytime. It doesn't matter if you're, And to me, that was just.
It wasn't a dark and stormy night.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that big of a deal as a kid.
Yeah,
but now as an adult, I'm like, that was a good play.
It's creepier that way.
Because it's like there's no safe zone. It's like shit happens in the daytime, you can be killed, whatever. So it's like it just makes it that more scary to, I think, subconsciously maybe.
Yeah,
maybe not even
Well, like we were talking about with there was not a lot of gore or anything like that. Like, Hooper was actually trying to get a PG rating,
right?
During the time, and they ended up giving him an X rating, and he was like, "Fuck," and he ended up getting it down to an R rating. And he was like, "All right, I'm not going to try to fight it anymore," and just went with that. And it didn't get a lot of positive reviews. A lot of people were saying, it was too gritty, too rough. Yeah, and the audiences back then just didn't know what they were looking at. Like we said, this is kind of what sparked a whole generation of slasher films. You didn't have killers that used power tools as weapons to murder people. You didn't have killers with masks on their face running around yet. So this is kind of the genesis of all that. So regardless of what you think, it's low budget, it's old or whatever, it's the OG.
Yeah, for sure.
And
There
the
really is no
killers,
bullshit.
yeah,
Huh?
the killers aren't out for revenge. It's not like Jason or Freddy. This is just how they live. This is just
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
they are, and that's fucking terrifying.
Well,
Yeah.
the interesting thing, whenever I was watching it the other day, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, wait a minute. Could they actually get away with self-defense here? Because all these people wandered into their house, and it's Texas of all places.
Well,
so,
okay, but the thing
Right.
is,
I was like,
you can get away, all right, because the laws are pretty much, they're different in some places, but they're pretty much the same. Somebody breaks into your house and you shoot them, self-defense. Somebody breaks into your house and you throw them down on the ground, slice their throat a few times, make them bleed into a glass and drink their own blood. Gall from Gorgorov did that and went to prison because that's a bit excessive, they say. But yeah, like if you shoot once and you get it, don't shoot again. As long as you got the target, cool. You stab them, make sure it's a good stab because you'll never have that moment again, probably. Special moment.
but I mean, the early 70s in Texas, I bet they could have got off.
I mean,
All those people wandered onto their property.
That's the thing.
Walked right in their house.
Could you see the committee meeting for that?
I mean,
all these people sitting out there, they're all like, they're pitchforks. So like, they kill them, they're killing people, blah, blah, blah. Then one guy comes up and goes, you know what? They were on their land, though. And they all stand there and they go, oh, well, shit, I'd probably do the same thing. I mean, I'm kind of crazy. I'm not too crazy about that little eating thing, but all right, go home. Who wants to party?
but they wouldn't really know that they got eaten. That's something you could hide. The only people
Well,
who
I mean,
know
if
is the Sawyer family.
There's
Town
lore.
This town loves prime meat.
Are there any lawyers out there that could shed some light on this? This
These
could be an
lawyers
interesting
watch our show.
conversation.
Of course not. They're too coked up at the strip clubs.
Oh,
Hey now. Used to have a landlord that was a fucking lawyer. That was a big cokehead. That was loads of fun.
Called Jack Kelly.
again, we get a little of the backstory at a time, just little bits and pieces.
Of everything.
That's
Well-
gonna be his masterpiece. This is all a plot where a guy has a podcast and he slowly reveals bits and pieces, and then you finally find out like a year later he's a serial killer. Spoiler.
Well, our correspondent Mike recently traveled to this area, Texas,
I did.
and he took.
Oh,
Hi, Chuck.
Hey, Shay. It's Shay.
what's up? All right.
Oh, see, she didn't leave you out.
Sweet.
And we have a couple pictures here. This is at first you'll see the picture that was from the movie, and then you'll see what the house looks like today. Might have to pause this.
That's what she's watching since she watched the other day.
Can they hear us right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to say if you want to go through, but yeah, right now the original house was originally in Quick Hill, which is now Round Rock, right outside of Austin, about 20 miles. And they ended up selling the property, and the house was a Victorian style house. They didn't tear it down, but they sectioned it off into 6 different pieces and hauled it off to Kingsland, which is about an hour or so west of Austin and Round Rock. And they rebuilt it and renovated it, and it's now a restaurant. It's been a restaurant for quite a long time. I think they moved it back in 1998. And then just recently, back in 2022, some new owners took over the property, and they're doing some renovations as well. But as you can see, like that's the front of, it's called Hooper's now. That's the restaurant, and
Nice.
in honor of Toby.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a live shot or current shot. But
Hey, Mandy. It's a friend of mine.
I'm Andy.
Yeah, that's where the chainsaw concept came in when Hooper was in a department store, and he's like, "Oh, how do I get through this crowd of people? How about I grab one of these chainsaws and slice my way through?" Oh,
Ooh.
brainstorm.
That's how you go Black Friday shopping.
But a lot of the concepts of Ed Gein, Wisconsin serial killer, 50s. As far as the cannibalistic stuff, the stuff about him cutting people's skin off and wearing it.
Yeah, making stuff out of it.
Yeah, that's what inspired those aspects of Leatherface and the Sawyer family.
It kills me, like, when I have to tell people that this movie is not actually, this didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's so many people that I'm like, no, this is basically the idea. And that's fine, you know. But
that's usually what I do. I've had that conversation.
Oh,
wait,
God.
no, that's not real, but this guy is. You should check this.
Well, you usually get that, like, God, it's usually, I might be an asshole, but it's usually with like females that want to, like, you know, act like they know more about horror movies than they do.
Whoa.
And they're like, oh my God, you know that movie is based on real stuff. There's people like that. And it's
even the name kind of implies, when you hear the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it sounds like an event that really took place, like this massacre down in Texas, you know. So
yeah, Shay, yeah, you were. It's Shay. It's okay. You get a pass. It's different with you. You're my little sister. You get a pass.
And here we have some more footage. Check this out.
Oh, that's what I was talking about before. That's the original location where the house sat back in the 70s. Right there to the right where you see the renovation going on, that's where the house would have sat. They tore that or moved that out to Kingsland, and now they're building apartment complexes there. So that's what it currently looks like in Round Rock, and it's just a shame. If you look to the left there, you'll see the road, and that's the actual road in the film. Like when the tractor trailer comes down the road and Sally runs out, that's the road that you would have seen the tractor trailer going down. And there's just a little bit of it left. Now that's the Hewitt house from the remake to 2003. This is a memorial outside of the original gas station from the OG film. The owners are big fans of the franchise, and they created this little memorial. And you can't see it right. You can, if you look in the middle there where it says "In memory of those who went before us," it has like a little dedication to each one of the actors that's passed on, and they've restored it to where it looks similar to how it was back during the filming.
That's really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Very, very, very cool little place. It has, they still sell barbecue, you know, even though it says we slaughter barbecue, you know, that's just to make it look like how it did in the film. But they actually do have a barbecue restaurant in there, and it's very good. And inside it's like a little store with all kinds of different merchandise from the film and horror merchandise and everything like that. So they're big fans, and they've really done it up nice. You go out back, it's like kind of a little B&B where they have cabins. You can stay there overnight, and it's a nice little setup. They got a thing right outside where they run films. They do little screenings of the films every once in a while for people. So it's a nice little place. It's called the Gas Station, and it's right outside of Austin, Texas, in Bastrop.
Is that where you got the brisket?
The brisket? No. Oh. I got the chili there.
Okay.
You ate the chili?
All right.
I mean, I think I eat chili too. Yeah, no, I mean, come on.
And I think I got one of them hard shell peppercorns.
Yeah.
You're eating human meat.
Delicious.
Which inspired a great episode on South Park, just for the record.
It's tender.
Hey, where have you seen your parents in a while?
And I know this has nothing to do with the movie we're talking about, but on a side note, Mike happened to be walking by as they were filming Idiocracy 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit!
And sure as shit, driving down the street as Terry Crews on the back of a truck as President Camacho.
That's so good.
Because I heard all this noise and then this guy's fucking screaming, and then all of a sudden I turn around, it's Terry Crews like, "Fuck you, motherfuckers!" I was like, "What is going on here?"
I'm not a huge fan of that movie. That's pretty cool. That's awesome, actually. But
That movie's
I
fucking
go back
great.
and rewatch it. Everybody tells me they love that movie, and I'm like,
It's almost
movie's so good.
Dude.
I know that's what
It's like I don't like comedies, but it's just like
it's
it's almost coming true. That's what's fucked up.
It's like playing out in real life.
Yeah.
Peyton.
So you should watch it just to see what's coming. It's like,
I also
like
hate
Teddy
the
Hart.
passion.
Terry Crews makes up for it. Like the whole. Just watch it. Just watch it.
Terry Crews is shit.
I love Terry Crews.
Complete fucking sidetrack there, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
That's all right. I had to share that. Had to share that with the world
That's almost
because that's
It's
good
pretty
stuff.
cool, yeah.
So this movie has spawned a ton of copycats and a ton of sequels. And one thing I was surprised to find out not too long ago is that apparently there's a lot of people that do not like the second movie. And this just blew my mind.
Those people are wrong.
Even Dennis Hopper and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sold.
What's funny is my stepdad actually told me about this a long time ago. He was talking about that because he likes part 2 too, also. And he was like, Dennis Hopper was on David Letterman one night, long ass time ago. And David Letterman looked at him and said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. And he goes, I needed the money at the time. He just,
I needed the money.
Yeah.
Well, I think he said that it was the worst film he ever did until he did Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
So
no, Part 2 is
Fucking
great.
Koopa.
I think part 2 is just too silly, maybe from the first one.
It's the next level.
It has a little more goofball to it. I like it.
Yeah.
It is, but that's what he was going for.
Yeah.
I mean, it went with the times. I mean, when it came out, there was also all these other
I think it throws people off now because you watch watch the first one and it's so brutal, and then you get to part 2 and it's like, well, this isn't quite what I expected. Maybe it's like if when Shay watches part 2, it's probably not going to be what she expects.
No, she's actually going to probably love part 2.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People,
you hear that, Shay, you're going to love part 2.
Tend to like it maybe, but it's so different from the first one.
Right.
That if you're
it's not as serious.
It's just
the first one is so brutal in its own right that when the second one comes around, it's got a little humor to it.
Well, to me, the graininess of the original is part of the reason why I like it.
Yeah.
And so in part 2, all that's cleaned up, so it automatically kind of. I mean, it's just like any other movie about that. At that point, it's still good, but
it goes back to how we were talking on the Ice Cube episode, where I was saying how I love Friday After Next because it's so goofy and campy and everything like that. And a lot of people don't like that because it's one of those sequels where it's a departure from the original. And it's the same
as any of those sequels, but whatever.
But
I think
fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes out in 74, and then part 2 doesn't come out till 86. So it's a 12-year gap, and a lot has changed in that 12 years. Yeah. And they, they're just trying to capitalize on the name. And it's a totally different feel, but
it's a good plot though. I like the DJ aspect of part 2. I think it's cool because and if you haven't seen these movies, then why are you even bothering watching us right now? Spoiler.
What was the station called? Like KOKLA, like Kokla or some weird shit?
It was something weird, yeah. But the scene that always got me is because the scene with the two guys, college douchebags, who are driving. They're all drunk and all partying, woo woo, and they're on the phone. And the whole time, the main DJ chick, legs, stretch.
He just he remembers those legs. That's for sure.
But she keeps yelling at him, hang up, hang up, hang up. It's like, you hang up. I don't understand what the problem is. Hang up the fucking phone. Problem solved, no issue. But But even that, like, I mean, and people pick on that shit too, or whatever. But like, yeah, there's things in this movie that don't make.
I actually watched
it, but it's fun. I love it.
I think he actually said that. I think LG actually says like they got to hang up on their end because they're running a live feed from a radio studio. Yeah. So it's like, back then, I guess the caller had to hang up in order to disconnect the.
Yeah, I watched like a documentary thing on that, and they said like back in those days it wasn't uncommon for like radio places and stuff to have the caller disconnect, and they couldn't. Like they could hang up the phone and pick it up 20 minutes later, they could still be there.
So that's something to ask my dad about. My dad was a DJ back in college, and that was a big thing with him. So I had to ask him about that actually. About that.
Got some hassle about it.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, I have to see.
I heard that. I heard that's how like a lot of the radio stations and shit were back in the day.
Yeah,
they couldn't disconnect with the caller. The caller had to hang up.
Yeah, that guy. The one guy's got the goofy glasses, and then fucking when they actually get they meet up with Leatherface. I love that part because once he saws the guy's head in half, and they show the from behind shot where the blood just like squirting out of the head and everything like that. That's a great effect right there.
A little more gore.
The only thing too was missing was no Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah, true.
No Gunnar Hansen. You could never beat Gunnar, but
I mean, he did
I think the guy did pretty good. I think that the way Leatherface looked, because Leatherface always changes his appearance in every single one, and in the second one,
I like the suit and tie in this one. In part two.
I think I think he was a little more animated in this. This is and actually you see a little bit of can't forget about this part, a little bit of a romance.
Right, the ice bucket.
The ice scene. Fucking like what the hell? Like that's
the weirdest and funniest part of the whole movie, maybe.
Right?
Like Leatherface is like fucking this ice box, like with his chainsaw. I don't know, man.
It also just goes to prove women can take care of any situation if they use their mind right. Because he's building a fucking huge ass fucking like chainsaw in certain areas that probably would not feel very good and be very painful before she died, and being able to be like, "Oh, you like that? Fucked up." Yeah. And we also can't forget about Bill Moseley. I mean,
oh sure.
Oh yeah.
You have one choice, boys: sex or the saw.
Man, that's a tough one.
Sex as well. Nobody knows, but the saw is family.
That's right. Fucking right, it is.
Fucking Jim Seidel. Such a great actor in those films.
Yeah.
Drayton Sawyer.
Yeah, no, I really do love like the second one a lot. It's honestly because the original I watched quite a bit, but I think that I don't know, man. I think almost like part two has surpassed how many times I've watched the original at this point. Yeah, just because if I'm not wanting anything too serious, but I still want my fucking slasher, my gore, I got to hear the chainsaw. You know what I mean? Like it's either I grab part two or fucking Leatherface part three of that piece of shit that came out a few years ago called Leatherface. But yeah, good shit.
Yeah, I mean, what other direction could they have gone with the sequel? I mean, do you turn the volume up?
Yeah.
But I think they made the right decision by not fucking with the masterpiece and just going in a different direction.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
They went the Gremlins 2 route. Only this time with Chainsaw, I think it worked.
It did. It was good.
The story isn't that far fetched either. You got Lefty Dennis Hopper who's looking for justice. Looking for revenge. So I feel, I don't know. I feel like I might have wanted to see a little bit more Dennis Hopper and a little less Carolyn Williams. I mean, she did great, but I don't know. The Lefty character was pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, he was a lot more interesting than she was.
Yeah, that little build up in the scene where he goes to the chainsaw store to buy him. Yeah.
The guy's just watching him, and he's like doing the fucking chainsaws, and is like trying to figure out which one is more versatile for him to attack somebody with.
The old man on the fucking porch getting a hard on because he's just like watching these chainsaws smacking that fucking wood. Oh baby, he loves it.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to part one though and just say like the fucking actors and stuff in that movie went through straight hell filming that fucking thing. Like they had to wear the same fucking clothes the whole shoot. They really didn't get paid shit.
No, they didn't get. Well, after the fact they did, but in the beginning they only got like $400 a piece or something like that.
I think like Gunner said his first check was $48.25.
Good God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get much until later on once New Line ended up getting the franchise, and there were some lawsuits and stuff like that. And I think each actor ended up getting like $25K, but still,
they went through some shit.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
And especially as that's another thing. If you know anybody from down in Texas, they'll tell you like in the summertime, the fucking heat is brutal. Like it's like over 100 degrees every day, and that's when they were filming this kind of yeah, and they were just miserable. I think Ed Neal even said that it was like the worst experience he'd ever had, and he'd been to Vietnam or something like that.
Yeah,
so
Right.
yeah, that was
the
crazy.
chicken carcass is real.
Yeah, it came from
all those bones were real and all that shit.
What would the smell be like?
Like the one girl knew someone
In that
works in like a
Texas
taxidermy office or something like that.
Yeah,
it was like a veterinarian, and she got
God.
all the corpses from there. So they said that house smelled straight rancid by the time they were
Yeah.
fucking.
Imagine that Texas heat for like however long they shot, and just couldn't.
You figure it's at least a 12-hour day, probably.
And then apparently Marilyn actually stuck herself with embalming fluid in the one scene.
Yeah,
They were filming it. And then the prop knife wasn't working right either, so fucking Gunner actually cut her finger with a real knife. He took the tape off of it and actually slit her finger open.
And I think he got cut by the chainsaw, didn't he? I think it was the scene when he killed Franklin, and he was swinging it around.
No, it was. I think it was at the end of it when he cut his leg.
Yeah,
because if I remember, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one. When he had a metal plate covered in like meat underneath his pant leg, and when the chainsaw fell, it missed. It skidded part of it skinned part of his leg because it went off the metal. I'm pretty sure that's how the story went. I think that's how he got cut.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't do that's probably why I love the idea of a chainsaw, because it's so brutal. Like no, dude, that shit freaks me the fuck out. Like if somebody's using a chainsaw, I'm fucking inside. Like, nah. Because anything could happen. Like these motherfuckers that go from these trees, they have a chainsaw just buzzing there, and I'm like, oh, no. What are you doing? Are you stupid? Haven't you seen these movies before, motherfucker?
Can't be a lumberjack.
Could never be a lumberjack. Terrified of heights. I don't like being around things that spin and have blades. I love stuff like that. As long as I'm holding it.
Yeah, definitely got to give props to that cast.
Yeah,
relatively unknown.
100%.
Pretty much all local people from down in Texas at the time. You got Marilyn Burns as Sally. You got Edwin Neal as the hitchhiker. Alan Danziger as Jerry. Paul Partain as Franklin. William Vale as Kirk. Terry McMinn as Pam. Jim Seidel as we come to find out Drayden Sawyer in the next film. He was known actor. He was probably the biggest name on the film. And then, of course, Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface. So, I mean, they didn't really end up going on to doing anything big. Hooper and Seidel were the big names from that first film, and that was about it. But fucking, they'll always be remembered for that.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying they went through hell, and they fucking made one of the best movies ever. Like they said, like a lot of the scratches and shit on Marilyn's face and her arms was real because they're running through thorn bushes through the woods.
Yeah.
And that's whenever Dave was showing those pictures, like of where they're developing and everything now. Over to the left side, you can't really see it, but that whole area, it's all that brush that you see in the film, and it's a bunch of razor wire and barbed wire around it, so you couldn't really go in there. They got cattle and stuff in there, so they keep people out, so you can't really go in there or anything like that. But you can definitely, if you go there and look, you can recognize it immediately. And yeah, I think the thing you were thinking about, Chad, was they were doing a scene where he was chasing Sally through that brush, and because she ran so slow, Gunner had to kind of find ways to get sidetracked to where he doesn't catch up to her. So he was doing things like swinging the chainsaw around and kind of like taking long turns around the corners and stuff like that. And I think the one time he went through the brushes and got caught, and the chainsaw got caught and fell and almost cut him. So that was one of the things. Another one of those times where he almost got cut.
Yeah, because they said it was about half and half. Some of the chainsaw, the blades were real, and I think only on the close-ups they used, I guess, fake, like a fake chain.
I would think that it would be the other way around.
Or the other way around. Yeah.
All you gotta do is take the chain off, and you're good.
Yeah, the close-ups they use are real one. Yeah. What am I saying? What are you doing, Dave?
What are you doing, Dave?
Well, the rest of the sequels, you guys might have to help me out with. I haven't seen. I think I've seen The Next Generation once when it came out on video.
Oh, we passed 3.
And I was gonna say 3. I was coming back. And,
Calm down. Calm down.
Because that one they dubbed it was called Leatherface when it first came out, right?
Yeah.
It was just called Leatherface. I think that was that the last one that went to theaters? I think it was.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have the original batch. Yeah.
Because Vigo was in that.
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah. Plays Leatherface's brother.
Yeah, and he's kind of.
Yeah.
Vigos came up a couple times tonight. That's weird.
Right.
Yeah, that's something else. Was the families, the families, and all the different movies in the franchise. They're always different. They're always. I don't know. Like, it's always a different take on what the family is every time, and I've always kind of liked that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you saw what the original family was like. Okay, and then like in the sequel, it's pretty much the same as the first for the most part. Even though Bill Moseley is a different version of old dude, but like in the third one, you get a brand new family. Yeah. Even with children.
I reconciled it as a kid, seeing these different families, that it was almost like branches of a family, and the Leatherface or whatever was almost like a title.
Yeah.
Like there was a Leatherface in each of these.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So that's like, as a kid, I was like, why is the family always different?
Yeah.
So I was like, I was just one, I was like trying to put it all together and like make a, like a big family tree type of shit. So in my head, I was just like, well, there's like 10 Leatherfaces, and they're just in different branches of this crazy ass family. But
with the last movie they made, that's what we kind of like. It kind of came out. We're like, oh well, it's it's the idea of like Leatherface isn't whatever. And it's like, okay, I can dig that. Like it's just something different every time, passed down. Like James Bond. You know what I mean? It's like it could be Roger Moore. It could be Sean Connery. You know what I mean? It could be Timothy Dalton. Which I do like that, like the movies he was in. But whatever, it's not the point. But yeah, like they're always entertaining. I don't fully hate any of the movies in the franchise, except
parts of all of them.
Yeah,
even Next Gen, even that one that everybody hates that I kind of like.
What, the Leatherface one?
No,
or Texas Chainsaw 3D. I keep forgetting.
3D.
Yeah.
Wait,
3D.
Here's a question: how do you all feel about Texas Chainsaw 3D?
Don't know.
It has.
I've only ever seen it here, like I think a few times.
We enjoy it.
It has
its things that don't make it long. It has terrible flaws. Because it has like the beginning of the movie has like this whole big flashback scene or whatever that happens.
It's supposed to be a direct sequel to the OG.
Yeah,
like you just cut out all those sequels.
Like
all that.
pick up.
What?
So that's where they pick up.
After the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I
So-
finished what you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, it picks up, right after the first one, and it's like, but the the timeline doesn't make much sense.
No, not at all. Because the girl's 18.
And she should. I mean, it just doesn't. The times don't add up right. But if you get along around that discrepancy, it's a pretty fun one.
It is. It's a fun movie. It's an interesting idea too.
Yeah.
You know, especially the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
What was it she says to him?
It's something real cheesy.
Get him, cuz.
Get him, cuz, or something.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Leatherface was your cousin? And you had to like you find out that you have to be the one to like take care of his ass. Like, I mean, seriously. Like, you're like, okay, you've killed all my friends, which actually her friends, none of them were her friends. They were all pieces of shit. It all worked out. You know, like she gets in the chainsaw, and he takes care of the other bad guys. They go home, and then what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she has to get on to him about like, hey, don't eat that. No. Like, you know, like the dog or the family cat is running around somewhere. No. I just put it in the store. You don't have to eat the cat. Leatherface, put it down. Like, you know, like I don't know. It's a funny little idea.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
and just like
So
sitcom.
you live here by yourself? No, but my cousin lives in the basement.
Right. So chainsaws.
Who's your cousin? I think I might have went to school with him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ask him. I was going to
remember-
stay for dinner, but this isn't going to happen. You might
You remember Bubba?
It's a fun one. I think I like it because he's back wearing a tie.
It's like he was always picked last in dodgeball.
He was always formal. Had the tie, the suit.
Yeah. I like it. I don't know.
And I think always now that was my favorite outfit from him was the suit tie. Anything with suit tie, because they're all, you know, they kind of explored more of that, especially with Next Generation. With him, you know, being in a dress and wearing like a pearl necklace and wearing a woman's face and all that shit. Like, so as the movies go on, you find out, like, you know, because you already know that like Leatherface wears different faces for different occasions. They did it in the original. They did that pretty much as they've gone on. But as they've gone on, you find out the different personalities of them.
Yeah,
from
that's kind of like how he expresses different aspects.
Yeah, I think in the original he had 3 different faces, right? He had the
kill mask, the
the
beauty mask, and then I think
the old lady, the old lady, the pretty, the old lady, the pretty lady, and then the regular.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, they said that was the idea behind the character. Whenever he was trying to explain it to Gunnar Hansen, was like, hey, you know, this character doesn't talk. He doesn't have dialogue. So you've got to illustrate what this character is thinking or feeling through the mask. So it's like whenever he's wearing the old lady mask, he wants to be domestic and help around the house and everything like that. Whenever he's wearing the pretty lady mask at dinner, he's trying to be more formal and everything like that. So it gives you subtle little hints to the character more so without ever having to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
So I still like that look. I guess it's over in the bottom left corner here on our frame of him with the like the butcher's outfit and everything like that.
Yeah,
I like that look the best. I think that's
the
most
shirt.
iconic.
Yeah, that's definitely the iconic look of Leatherface.
Yeah, because it's like that's what you thought whenever you saw the first one. You're like, oh, these are people that were probably from the slaughterhouse, and fucking they're just fucked up.
Fucked up they are.
So wait, now I'm confused. So it was part 3 Leatherface.
Yeah.
Part 4 was the Next Generation.
Yep.
Yeah. Part 4 was Next Generation.
So was part 5 Chainsaw 3D?
There was a remake.
Yeah, you did the remakes. So I mean,
oh, okay.
However you count it.
Yeah, you had the remake, and you had the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you had
Then 3D, I think.
then 3D, and then you had Leatherface. I don't know why they decided to make another one called Leatherface. No, it was right before that one. Because the one that they called Leatherface, the story of it's really wonky. They go back to the whole mom thing, which we've already dealt with. But
That's Jason's deal.
It's Jason's deal, and in Rob Zombie's universe, it's also Michael Myers' deal. Yeah, Things we don't talk about.
It was that time period, like we were just talking about last week with Scream, where they went back and they just called it Scream. You know, they went back and called this Leatherface, and it was right around that time where they just felt like, oh, you know, this name is synonymous with people. So if we try to call it something else, then people won't get it.
Yeah.
It just, so we just call it Scream. We call it Leatherface, and then fucking everybody will just understand.
Yeah, like I've only seen Leatherface once, and I
didn't watch that one, but the new one
I liked.
It was pretty good.
I liked.
There's some brutal scenes. The story was good.
Kills a whole fucking busload of these fucking assholes. Oh, we got you on video. I mean, dude, it's brutal as fuck. People want to bitch. No, wait, real quick. People want to bitch about the fucking last, like, fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out, which they call it Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Why? I don't fucking know.
It's like, I mean,
It's to say, I get it. But the thing is, like, people want to bitch about it, and I understand there's certain things about it you don't like, but it's an interesting plot. The fact that, the biggest problem with that one is the fact they tried to bring back fucking Sally as some Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Myers revenge fucking bullshit. And she didn't fucking do a goddamn thing but get killed.
That was my thing. There was no reason for her to be there.
If they took that narrative out of there.
Right.
What is it?
There was no reason for her to be there. They just shoehorned her in.
No, because they already.
That was the problem I had with it.
In Texas,
and then he fucking killed her.
Because the original Sally's in Texas Chainsaw 3D. Yeah. And she dies. Like, that was the character. She wasn't Sally, but like, I don't know. It's been said pretty much like in 4. That's what it was. In the next gen, at the end of it, is it past the credits?
Yeah. Where
in the hospital, and you see her laying there on the bed, and she's being wilted off somewhere else, and that's actually her too. So like, there's no fucking reason for her to be in any of them. It's just like, just take that part out of it, and boom, it's a good one. Like, seriously, I don't give a fuck. When I watched that fucking movie, a lot of things happened that night, but I won't go into all that. But the night that I watched that fucking movie, me and my buddy were watching it together. Like,
serial killer.
And I had a few drinks, whatever the fuck. We were cheering it in some of these fucking scenes. I was clapping. I was having a blast. Yeah. Anybody that has a fucking problem with the fucking last Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie,
come see Chuck.
Come see me, goddammit. Period. Great movie. Like that one. Social media, asshole.
Should we ignore all these red flags he keeps waving? I don't know.
Well, even the original film,
blind eye.
The original film, they considered naming it Leatherface. It was one of the titles that they had tossed around, and another title they had tossed around was
Head Cheese.
Yeah,
what was it?
Head Cheese.
Oh,
you know, from
has anybody had head cheese?
My grandpa used to eat that shit.
Have you ever had any of you ever had cheese? I have had head cheese one time.
Not since I saw this movie.
Dude.
Is it gross?
He's on the fence.
Honestly, it wasn't horrible, but the fact of what it is fucked me up a little bit. So I was like, at first I was all gung-ho about it, and then after I started thinking about it, I wanted to like it because of this movie. I wanted to like it because of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but you know.
So what was it like? Was it like grits? Was it like oatmeal? Was it?
No, it was gritty, kind of, but it was. I don't know. It did have a weird texture to it, but it's like gristle.
Not just
from under cheese.
Yeah. Which I like. That's the other thing about a head cheese, though, is like. Another reason why I like is I don't like the texture with some things, and it did have like that gristly fucking like part of the steak kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? It's just not. I won't eat it again.
Move on.
And despite having the name Head Cheese, there is actually no cheese or any dairy products in it.
It doesn't even sound appetizing with that name.
No, it's just.
I'm pretty sure there's a circumcision joke somewhere in here.
Well. But yeah, if you don't know what it is, it's just the meat from the head of a hog, cured and stuffed, is served cold. And,
that sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
I told him in a dick cheese joke.
Now, wasn't
Maybe like a gyno joke.
the new one?
Oh.
Oh shit. Hey, we're gonna talk later. We're gonna talk about this. Damn it.
She didn't care for it. She didn't care for it
Hey,
much.
but you know what though? Hey,
What are you gonna do about it?
it's okay. She likes the gore, and that's all that matters.
I mean, there's a lot of parts of that movie I didn't care about, but I mean, all in all, I mean, it was entertaining. There was some holes in it though. I didn't like the part how he went back home after the end, but the end part whenever he chops bitch's head off, that shit was dope.
Yeah.
Well, and that also goes back to the whole James Bond thing. Like, it's a face every time and shit.
You went robot mode.
You're a robot.
You're a robot,
Chuck.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you have to do the robot.
Is it still robotic?
Still a robot.
You sound like you're in a tunnel.
Well, we're not in a tunnel.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
You came out the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, now you're good.
Oh,
You didn't
darn.
even do
We're not in a
anything.
tunnel.
I was gonna have him do Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger over here.
Doesn't work now.
Yeah, it don't work now.
Now, the second Leatherface movie, that was the one where they were trying to trick you into thinking it was one kid when it was another. Okay. Yeah, I kind of remember that one too. Wasn't there another straight to video one after that? Or was that it?
No, that was it. That was because that came out before the Netflix thing did.
Yeah, Netflix is the newest.
Yeah.
And that was 2021 that came out?
We actually did a podcast on
2022.
me back
2022?
whenever we were doing just audio.
Oh, that was back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
I always saw it when it came out. I haven't seen it since.
I've watched it
And
a couple times.
I've seen the original multiple times since then. So there you go.
I mean, if you're going to call it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously the setting's always going to be Texas. So you can't do. I mean, if they want to change it to Leatherface Takes Manhattan, go with the current theme.
Fuck it. Why not?
There
we go.
But all the films just have a lot of similarities. I think that's why I like 2 so much, because it's a kind of a departure where it's so much fun.
You could call it Leatherhead Cheese in Texas.
Yeah. I'm definitely in a different mood when I watch the second one.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Chuck said, when you want something not too serious, but you still get your gore. Yeah, it's a good fix.
It's got that Evil Dead 2 vibe.
What if
Bring it all down? Bring it down.
What if Leatherface goes up to Wisconsin and it's head cheese meets the cheeseheads?
He's just mowing down everybody at Lambeau with a chainsaw.
Can you imagine that scene where Aaron Rodgers is getting ready to, Aaron Rodgers getting ready to throw a football, then all of a sudden as his arms comes out, boom, chainsaw just slices through it.
I'd watch that game.
I mean, he's not going to be
him just running down.
I mean, Rodgers ain't going to be in Green Bay much longer.
Yeah. Splatterpunk.
There is the sequel that never made it from Tony Hooper, which was the All-American Massacre. Still has never ever seen the light of day, and hopefully it will.
Wait, what's this now?
It's you never heard about that? The sequel they made for Chopped Up. It's just nothing but Chopped Up. Meaning, but then Leatherface
Why
was
don't
in
we
it.
have this?
I don't know. It just never came out. Everybody wonders the same thing. Like Buckethead played Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were supposed to get Jim Seidel at the end, but then he backed out.
That's
so he never
right.
got a chance to do it.
Yeah.
But
So did they never
Tony
finish
was
it?
making like a tribute movie to his dad in 1999 or 2000. And to this day, like all the footage has just been gone. No one can find it, but it's been sold on eBay like twice.
God damn it.
It looks fucking great though. Like it shows like Chop Top back whenever he first got out of Nam up until.
Oh. Why don't we have this in our lives?
Because it'd be dope and everybody wanted to see it.
Flashback.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, Mike, your connection dropped out. Oh, now you're back.
I'm back.
Yep. He had a flashback and he fucking boop.
Flashback.
But I always wanted to see that movie.
Oh, that's what I did.
Leatherface, you moron! What are you doing here?
See, I almost did like the metal plate thing and got a hanger, and fucking there you go.
Yeah, I remember watching that and just like he is picking off pieces of his skin and eating it.
You need to borrow my lighter, Mike, so you can burn the end of it.
Yeah, like that guy's got an addiction.
Because first, like, you don't know what he's doing at first.
That's what I thought head cheese was.
And then later, you're like, oh, what the fuck?
So much good shit from fucking Bill Moseley in that second one, in a small period of time too. Like, my gosh, like
he basically steals the show.
Yeah, like, and so much quotable shit. He's just like, dog will hunt. Get that bitch, Leatherface. Get that bitch. And then fucking music is my life. And can you cite it to a far out fan? Look what you did to my Sonny Bono wig.
See, like I heard, like I saw, like the only reason he got that part was because he was trying. He made like a tape for an audition for Saturday Night Live because he wanted to do comedy, and then they kind of like turned it down. And then fucking Toby found that fucking clip, and he was like, "Hey, you want to fucking do your character, but in this movie Texas Chainsaw 2?" And he's like, "Fuck yeah!"
Wow, weird. How did he even get a hold of the audition tape?
I have no idea, man. It's Hollywood.
Huh.
Shit happens.
They just pass tapes around? What the fuck?
But I do want to see All American Massacre. That shit looks dope. Like the clips that you see. So hopefully one day before we all die, we get to watch it.
And that's the perfect title. That's the perfect way out of the corner. Instead of calling it Texas, call it All American.
Yeah.
That's like New Coke to Coca-Cola Classic. It's fucking genius. It's got the jam. Do you have the jam?
In America, Coca-Cola, sometimes war.
Well, so many good memories of this movie. Gentlemen, do you have anything else to share?
What? Like, what do you mean?
About the first one.
It's amazing. Completely, 100%.
See it.
One of the greatest fucking horror movies of all time. It's my number one favorite film of all time. That's in every genre.
Number two.
How anybody could beat it, I don't know.
I mean, I only put Hellraiser 1 above it.
See, that's me and this motherfucker over here. That's how we became friends. Was Hellraiser and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and those are the
We
ones.
both had tattoos of those movies. And
Yeah. They're both like it's right down the middle with both of them. I mean, it really is. Like,
So I'm like,
like they really are.
I'm your guys is bizarre because those are the only two movie tattoos I don't have.
Really?
It's true. This motherfucker has all kinds of little badass tattoos.
Although I've been thinking about, I want to get the puzzle box on this hand, but it's just a matter of my management agreeing with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many good memories of this movie. And if you haven't gathered this already, I will just remind you that your clerks highly recommend the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre film.
Texas Chainsaw number one.
Number one. But before we depart, we will end this program as we always do with our random clip of the week.
Okay.
And if you're just joining us for the first time, this is the part of the show where we show a random clip from a random movie and just see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Oh boy.
Let's not see what happens.
You went to my video.
Botch toe.
Kenner, just in case we get killed,
Ah.
I wanted to tell you, you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Thanks.
Yes.
One of those moments. It's one of those scenes that it's in the top 3 what the fuck scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Like the movie's not half bad. Like it's cheesy, whatever. But that scene, when I first saw it, I was like, "What did he just say?"
Like, why is that in there?
You got the biggest dick. Well, because it was fucking Tia Carrere or whatever the other room. And like Brandon Lee happened to like take a peek or whatever the fuck. But you don't compliment the man on his fucking cock size.
Like, no, you're supposed to be like, good job, you nailed her. Not you got
like, hey, good job, buddy. Hey,
but that's like
big cock.
That's like
his
you don't
go like you go in the bathroom, you're in the stall. You don't look at the guy next to you and go, "Hey, good job, buddy. God bless you."
You do that.
Is that what you do? Is that what you do with Skeet?
No, that's not what I do with Skeet.
Skeet Ulrich, that is, not just Skeet.
Right, because let's just make it known real quick. Because I ran into a bathroom at HorrorCon, and he was in the fucking like urinal next to the sink I was washing my hands in. That's how I met him.
But wasn't he just staring at you?
He crossed the streams.
As he was pissing, he was just staring at you while you were at the sink.
Doesn't let that happen.
Was he like
that would have been better?
Was he like surprised?
I'd like to call a lawyer. I was not getting like Skeet Ulrich's handies in the bathroom.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that shit? If he just turned to you and looked at you and said, "What's your favorite porno movie?"
David Does Dallas. Behind the Green Door.
There you go.
You never see Behind the Green Door. There's a fucking mind trip back in the day.
Never seen it.
Classic.
And as always, if you have not got your fill of Chuck Nasty, you can check him and Whitman out on Graveyard Talk and Nasty Nation. And as well, don't forget to give Whitman a follow on Facebook at Whitman Photography. Gentlemen, do you have anything else going on?
Check out. You go ahead and check out my YouTube, Leasure Trading Company. I'm going to have some more footage from down in Texas, a little tour of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house and the gas station and everything like that. So a little additional footage, flavor, if you will, if you want to check that out over on Leasure Trading Company.
Hey, Mike, where's the basement?
The basement of the Alamo. I was there. I went down there to San Antonio. I asked them. I was like, "Where's the basement?" They just laughed at me. I was just trying to find. I was just trying to find my bike. I mean, what the fuck?
There was also things to be said about. Don't forget to check out Bastard Sons of Judas Goat and the Any Last Words podcast, and also the Any Last Words magazine, because I'll be doing my stories in that, and then an upcoming magazine that will also come up with Bella. So you can check that shit out. Go to Bastard Production or creepybastardproductions.com, and you can look at all that shit. Whitman, you. The other thing that I've got going on
is a shoot with the Scream Queen, Jessa Flux. So we're kind of buddies now, and we talked not too long ago. So hopefully in either May or June, we're going to do a photo shoot. So hopefully some cool stuff coming soon.
Murder Size. Look for that shit too.
Oh, yeah, her movie's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
We got a lot going on, gentlemen.
Hopefully,
keep them with the fucking grind, bro.
That's it.
Yep.
And as usual, don't forget to give us hit that subscribe button. That's what I'm trying to say.
He's just trying to find an alibi so he can be like, "Nah, I was doing a podcast. I ain't killing nobody."
Yeah, that's why he wants us to go live every week. And we thank you for joining us on the Video Store Clerks Podcast. We will see you live next Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Join us then. Good night.